The Indiana Fever many fans is still poking fingers at head coach Stephanie White for actually making the game not entertaining anymore, bro. This motion offense has to be addressed, and Stephanie White has to be held accountable because it's truly the offense that she's running, and it is not for Caitlin Clark at this point. Now, both Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White spoke to the media immediately after this game.
Something is broken. When you watch Caitlin Clark walk off the court after another bruising loss, you're not just seeing a player who's tired. You're seeing someone whose fire is being systematically smothered. The electric confidence that captivated millions has been replaced by a quiet, heavy exhaustion that goes beyond the physical.
I thought at times we could have played a little bit faster, and I think that's on me, like not conceding in that. We still got to play up tempo. We still got to play fast. But I mean, I thought for the most part we did a lot of stuff that coach wanted us to do, and that wasn't why we lost.
I can't hold you, man. That kind of looked like she let that slip out, man. I don't know. But I mean, we all see it. When they play slow, it's just not a good team, man. They're not as good as we see that they could be, right? So they need to play fast, man. I think, they don't necessarily look that good when they're playing half-court ball. Maybe taking something from the Valkyries, man. The Valkyries run, all right? They be running.
This isn't the fatigue of a long season. It's the spiritual dehydration of a talent being dismantled in front of the entire world. The WNBA begged for a savior, and in Caitlin Clark, they got one. But now, a terrifying question hangs in the air. Is the league, her coach, and even her own team actively sabotaging their golden goose?
See, everybody wants to see Caitlin Clark play. And if you let other teams and other people beat the shit out of her, she's going to spend 2 weeks out injured. And your attendance is going to drop because people aren't going to get the chance to see her. And if you actually want to be paid the same as the NBA players, obviously not by actual dollar for dollar, but for revenue percentage, you need to protect her. You need her to be playing at her best and not be having the shit kicked out of her.
What's happening to Caitlin Clark isn't just a rookie slump, it's a slow-motion character assassination, and everyone seems to have a knife. The most visible part of this takedown happens every time she steps on the floor, where she's become the league's favorite chew toy.
The Las Vegas Aces defeated the Indiana Fever 89-81. And this game was disappointing for many fans, not only for the fact that it seemed like the Fever had this one in the bag, but they kind of gave it away at the end of the game, but also because it seemed like there was something off with this Fever team. They didn't have the same energy and spark that we all know and love. So many fans are asking, what is going on?
This isn't just physical defense. It's a targeted, brutal campaign of harassment disguised as competition. Opponents aren't just trying to stop her, they're trying to punish her. They body check her a full 94 feet from the basket, running her through a gauntlet of illegal screens that would make an NFL linebacker wince.
The solution to the Indiana Fever's problems. Hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. This is what we got to do. We got to put Caitlin Clark off ball. We need to run a motion offense, so when the defense takes away what Caitlin Clark does best, we have other players that can still perform, so when she does have bad games, we're not completely dead in the water. I think that is the best way to move forward with this Indiana Fever team.
They cheap shot her away from the ball, knowing the cameras might be looking elsewhere. It's a level of aggression that borders on a blood sport, a relentless physical assault meant to do more than just prevent a basket. It's meant to break her will, to send a message that her talent is not welcome here.
And let's first talk about Caitlin Clark. So she struggled once again in this game. She was 7 for 20 from the field and 1 for 10 from 3, which puts her at 1 for 17 over the past few games. And if you're a fan of Caitlin Clark, you know that this is so unlike her. She is arguably the best shooter in the WNBA, and she is having a significant cold streak over the past 2 games. But her missing shots isn't actually what bothers me. The thing that bothered me most in the game yesterday was the one shot that she passed up. Now, she had been missing a few shots, and if you guys were on my live stream, I said the thing that she needs to do is to continue shooting. Shooters shoot. The only way to break a cold streak is to continue shooting.
But the physical abuse is only half the story. The real scandal is who's letting it happen. While Clark is being treated like a human piñata, the referees seem to have misplaced their whistles, turning every game into a masterclass in gaslighting.
Well, I think you have to look at things a little bit holistically. I think Caitlin Clark is a really hard player to officiate, much like Diana Taurasi was throughout the course of her career, for a couple of reasons. Caitlin Clark regularly gets picked up in the full court. She also gets blitzed more over the course of her career than any player in WNBA history or in that period of time. And she also creates some contact herself on the offensive end of the floor. She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her all of the time.
The rulebook, it appears, has become a choose-your-own-adventure novel where every path leads to Clark getting hammered with no consequence. If she gets shouldered to the ground while running off a screen, it's just physical basketball. If an opponent hooks her arm, it's letting them play.
Well, I be damned. I be damned. 7 for 20 from the field, 1 for 10 from the three-point line. And look at those turnovers, 8 turnovers. She leads the league in turnovers. But guess what? Her Clarkies are only going to be impressed, and they're going to brag about the 19 points and 10 assists. Me personally, I'm all about efficiency. I'm concerned about those last 3, them turnovers, which she leads the league in turnovers. She is shooting horrible from the field. And as far as them three-pointers, in the last 2 games, she's only made 1 three-pointer, and that's the one against the Aces.
Yet, the moment Clark so much as breathes on a defender, the whistle shrieks like a smoke alarm. This blatant double standard has created a hopeless reality where she can't win, punished for the very fouls committed against her. The league that rolled out the red carpet is now turning a blind eye as she's mugged in primetime.
Off at all from 3ers or anything like that. I mean, there's going to be stretches that are really good, there's going to be stretches that aren't as good, and obviously it's frustrating. You want them to go in, and even tonight I felt like there was a few that like felt really good off my hand, and it just didn't go down. And you know, even the mid-range jump shot to start the fourth quarter and the 3 to start the fourth quarter, like they both felt good off my hand. So it's just like it's just frustrating. And I think for the challenge for myself going forward is just, you know, continue to pour into every other aspect of the game, and I can continue to have an impact in, you know, all those other areas. I thought I got to the rim well. It was just, you know, certainly a tough shooting night, and you know, you got to find a way to continue to shoot and remain confident in myself, because I know I put the time in. But for me, I don't feel like it's, you know, anything that's off.
I'm sorry, but this is a regular season game. There's no player that's going to be that depressed about a loss. The emotion that she's having right now, that's emotion that you have when you lose a championship. But they didn't lose a championship, so it's only one other thing. It's the coach. I knew something was up, y'all. I played basketball all my life. I played point guard. There was something off about Miss Caitlin when I was watching that Aces game. And I couldn't put my finger on it. It just seemed like Miss Caitlin, she was definitely unmotivated. She looked defeated the whole game. She didn't look like she was having fun. And that is always because of the coach. Always.
While the officials abdicate their responsibility, the chaos on her own sideline is just as destructive. If you watch the Indiana Fever's offense, you might think you're witnessing a social experiment in tactical confusion, led by head coach Stephanie White.
There's no reason any professional athlete or any ball player is not having fun on the field, because this is the game they love. They've been loving this since they was a kid. Because the only reason the player is not having a good time playing the game that they love is because the coach is trying to put shackles on them, trying to control them too much. With a player like Caitlin, you gotta let them loose. This is something that Steve Kerr had to realize when he was dealing with Steph. Steph was shooting all them logo threes. He was shooting all the shots early in the shot clock. Steve Kerr would shake his head. He'd be like, oh, what are you doing? But after a while, he had to let this player do his thing. Bro, that was the first time I ever seen Caitlin Clark walk the ball down the court.
White has installed a motion offense that feels less like a system and more like interpretive dance. Instead of unleashing Clark's generational speed and deep-range lethality, the offense often forces her to play a slow, meandering, half-court game that neutralizes her greatest gifts.
What? I don't think Stephanie White is like a fan of Caitlyn's demon time and, you know, her getting all riled up and pumping up the crowd. I don't think she's a fan of that shit. Some coaches, like, they don't like that shit. For example, when Allen Iverson came into the league, him and Larry Brown did not get along because Larry Brown used to tell him to tone it down and not be himself and stuff like that. But I think that's what's going on with this team right now. Because when I was watching that game, man, it just did not feel right. Like, she just looked like she was just so sad about playing. It felt like she was being forced to play a certain type of way.
She gives up the ball early, only to watch it move aimlessly around the perimeter before ending in a contested shot or a turnover. White gestures from the sideline like she's trying to order a coffee in a loud nightclub. Her instructions lost in the on-court chaos. There is no flow, no identity, just a collection of players running in patterns that seem designed to take the ball out of their best players' hands. This coaching malpractice isn't just frustrating, it's actively deconstructing a phenom piece by piece. The results of this multi-front war are painfully clear, and it goes beyond the shocking shooting slumps, like the stretch where she went 1 for 17 from 3. The real damage is psychological, and it is eroding her from the inside out. The once fearless gunslinger is hesitating. We see her passing up shots she would have taken without a second thought just months ago. Her entire game, once a symphony of instinct and genius, now looks like it's buffering, caught between her own brilliance and a system that wants to sand down her edges. She's trying to play 4D chess while her coach is playing Pictionary with invisible ink, and her opponents are playing Demolition Derby. This is how you take a supernova and dim its light, not by defeating it, but by making it doubt its own fire. As if navigating the on-court minefield wasn't enough, she's also become a target for drive-by character assassinations from the very legends of the game. When a figure as respected as Gino Auriemma takes an unprompted shot at her, it's not just a critique, it's a signal. It tells the rest of the world that it's open season on Caitlin Clark. It was a condescending, unnecessary jab from a man who should have known better, choosing to throw a stone instead of offering wisdom. This verbal warfare reinforces a toxic narrative that she is somehow arrogant or fragile. If she can't even get respect from the establishment of the sport, what hope does she have in her own locker room? This is the darkest, most unspoken part of the story. While she's being battered by opponents and undermined by her coach, the silence from her own teammates is deafening. On the court, the chemistry is non-existent. The energy feels heavy, like a group of people forced to work together who would rather be anywhere else. There's no sense of a team rushing to her defense when she gets cheap-shotted, no collective fire to match her own. It's the ultimate betrayal, the one place she should feel supported. Her own team feels like just another source of pressure. It's a quiet but devastating isolation, leaving her to fight a war on all fronts completely alone. When you lay out all the evidence, the conclusion becomes terrifyingly logical. This environment isn't just challenging, it's toxic. It's a perfect storm of physical abuse, systemic bias, strategic incompetence, and internal apathy. This forces us to ask the question no one wants to say out loud. Should Caitlin Clark demand a way out? This isn't about being a diva or running from a challenge. This is about career preservation. The Indiana Fever are not a project she can fix. They are a trap. Staying in this situation risks more than just her stats. It risks ruining the very instincts that make her great. It risks trading her fire for fatigue, her genius for doubt. If the league won't protect her and her coach can't elevate her, then she has to save herself. What we are witnessing is not just adversity, it is the potential ruin of a generational talent broadcast live for entertainment. The league, which profits immensely from her name, has become a passive observer to her public dismantling, seemingly content to watch her struggle as long as the clicks keep coming. Every game, she is being ground down by a system that seems to resent her for her own brilliance. If this continues, we won't be talking about her next record. We'll be talking about what could have been, and if she is forced to leave, it won't be because she couldn't handle the pressure. It will be because they didn't just let their brightest star fall, they pushed her.